Imagine you're cruising at 35,000 feet, moving faster than 900 kilometers per hour. Suddenly, a tiny crack appears beside your window. Within seconds, the airplane begins tearing apart in midair. It sounds like a movie scene, but in the early days of jet travel, this terrifying nightmare actually happened, and the surprising cause wasn't the engines, the wings, or the pilots. It was the shape of the windows. Today, every commercial airplane has rounded windows. Most people assume they're designed to improve the view or make the cabin look modern. But the truth is far more fascinating. Those smooth curves are one of the greatest life-saving innovations in aviation history. And they exist because engineers learned a painful lesson that changed aircraft design forever. To understand why, we need to travel back to the dawn of the jet age. Before the 1950s, most passenger airplanes flew at relatively low altitudes using propellers. But after World War II, engineers developed powerful jet engines that could carry passengers much higher into the sky. Flying above 30,000 feet meant smoother air, faster travel, and lower fuel consumption. However, there was one major problem. At those altitudes, the air is far too thin for humans to survive. Passengers would quickly lose consciousness without a pressurized cabin, so engineers designed aircraft that pumped air into the cabin, creating a comfortable atmosphere while the outside air remained extremely thin. Every time an airplane climbs, the cabin expands slightly because the pressure inside is much higher than outside. During descent, the pressure decreases again. This expansion and contraction happens on every flight. Over thousands of journeys, the aircraft's metal skin is repeatedly stretched and relaxed, creating a process known as metal fatigue. In the early 1950s, Britain introduced the Havilland Comet, the world's first successful commercial jet airliner. It was faster, quieter, and more comfortable than anything passengers had experienced before. Many believed it represented the future of air travel. Then disaster struck. In 1953 and 1954, several Comet aircraft suddenly broke apart in midair without warning. There were no explosions, no storms, and no obvious mechanical failures. Entire airplanes simply disintegrated while flying at high altitude. The aviation world was stunned. Investigators launched one of the most important engineering investigations in history. They placed an entire Comet fuselage inside a giant water tank and repeatedly pressurized it, simulating thousands of flights. Eventually, tiny cracks began appearing. The cracks always started near the corners of the airplane's square windows. The problem was something engineers call stress concentration. Whenever force reaches a sharp corner, it becomes concentrated into a very small area instead of spreading evenly. Those corners became weak points where microscopic cracks formed. Every pressurized flight made those cracks slightly larger until the aircraft's metal could no longer withstand the pressure. The solution turned out to be surprisingly simple: round the corners. Rounded windows distribute stress smoothly across the aircraft's skin instead of concentrating it in one location. Without sharp corners, cracks are far less likely to begin, dramatically increasing the strength and lifespan of the fuselage. After the Comet accidents, aircraft manufacturers around the world completely redesigned their airplanes. Rounded windows became the new industry standard, and engineers also strengthened fuselages, improved manufacturing techniques, and introduced far stricter safety testing. Modern airliners undergo fatigue tests that simulate tens of thousands of flights before they are approved to carry passengers. Every detail is examined to ensure the aircraft can safely withstand decades of pressurization cycles. Today's aircraft, including the Boeing 737, Boeing 787 Dreamliner, Airbus, A320, and Airbus, A350, all use rounded windows based on these hard-earned engineering lessons. The windows themselves are also far more advanced than many people realize. Instead of ordinary glass, they are made from multiple layers of high-strength acrylic. Most passenger windows even contain a tiny bleed hole in the inner pane, allowing pressure to equalize between the layers while ensuring the outer pane carries nearly all of the cabin pressure. It is a tiny feature that most passengers never notice, but one that plays an important role in keeping every flight safe. Today, commercial aviation is one of the safest forms of transportation in the world. That remarkable safety record wasn't achieved by chance. It was built through decades of testing, innovation, and lessons learned from past tragedies. So the next time you look out of an airplane window, remember that its rounded shape isn't about comfort or style. It's a silent piece of engineering that has helped protect millions of passengers around the world. Sometimes the smallest design changes make the biggest difference between catastrophe and safety.